If it wasn't for ESPs, our schools wouldn't even be open every day. Just imagine, like if your whole support staff called out for one day, nobody could run their district without us. We are the most vital, important positions within our districts, and we all know that. We just need to make sure that everybody else knows it. My name is Joey Moore, and I am an education support professional in the state of Ohio in a suburb called Pickerington. I've been doing this for a little over 15 years now. ESPs are very important to our public education because our school doors would not open without us. Our students wouldn't get to school without us. Our kids wouldn't eat. They wouldn't get their medicine. The reason why I stay is I have worked at every level. I have worked from kindergarten to 12th grade, and I still have kids that graduated 10 years ago that still come back and call me Mrs. Moore, Mama Moore, whatever. And one of the big impacts that we know as ESPs in my district that we make an impact on our kids is that seniors get to pick any staff member they want to hand them their diploma. When students pick you to hand them that piece of paper after their long 13 years of education and to give them their first hug when they are walking across that stage, you know that you made a difference in that student's life. And that is one of the best feelings in the world. And then you get to watch them get married, grow up, and have kids of their own eventually, but we never age.
My name is Cheryl Williams. I'm an administrative secretary in Dublin City Schools, and I love my job. I spent 16 and a half years in the private sector as an office manager and eventually the CFO of a corporation. And the owner decided one day to sell, and I was out of a job. And my son was in 4th grade and my daughter was in college to become an educator, become a teacher herself. And I thought that I really wanted to get involved in public education. So I started my career in the kitchen because I wanted to do something different. I worked my way into 2 3-hour jobs, can't do three with the fingers, sorry, to 2 3-hour jobs where I was a clinic aide in the morning and an office helper in the afternoon. And I realized real quickly that I could use my private sector skills in the public school setting. So I love being an elementary school secretary. I have a lot of responsibilities that go from securing substitutes for the building to purchasing supplies to the safety and security of everybody that comes into our building. I am the primary person who lets them in and answers the phone and helps the parents and navigates the way for the teachers. But the thing that I love the most, and the most important part I think that we play as education support professionals in a student's life, is the relationships that we build. They know that we are the trusted adults. They can change grades and change teachers and change classes, but I'm still going to be sitting at that front desk when they come in 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. I enjoy getting to see them grow and develop. Elementary is where it's at in my world. That's where I like to be. But I really think that the relationships that we build with our students is really the most important piece that we bring to the puzzle.
I'm Tammy LaPlante. I'm a junior high custodian at Ashtabula Area City Schools. I moved to Ohio back in 2004. I worked at a daycare for a little while, and they said, oh, you have to have an early learning certificate. And I'm like, okay, when am I supposed to do that? I work full time. So I left there, couldn't afford to go to school. So I started subbing at a custodian for Ashtabula Schools. Within a year, I was hired full time, and I didn't realize how much I loved kids in the public school setting. And my favorite place is the junior high. And the interaction, students need a clean learning environment. They need the doors to be secure. They need to feel safe. And this year, my job hours changed, so I don't get the interaction with the kids I used to. So I incorporated myself into the after-school program, and they named my trash trolley the Great Gray Bandit, and I awarded them. So, and I do puzzles and games, and they get to name the candy corn in the jar this week, and because they like to see me. They now got running down the hallway. hi, Miss Tammy, how are you? What do you know, we're glad you're here today. And it's just, they know that I'm going to keep them safe and that I'm there, and a friendly smile, and kind of, they're like my kids. And I need them as much as they need us. That's why I love public education. I'm done. The tears are going.
It seems like it's very universal about what our ESPs are going through in the state of Ohio right now. A big one is money. We're losing a lot of ESPs right now because there is not enough money, number one, to pay them, and then number two, to get the enough support that they need to support their students and their staffs in their building. Another big thing is behaviors. Our students' behaviors since COVID. I don't know what's happening. You know, there's a lot of people getting hit, bit, punched, assaulted, verbally, mentally, physically, every day. It seems like that this is a big thing that they were talking about. And this isn't just in like one part of the state. This is all over the state of Ohio.
And then you add the substitute shortages. You know, I don't know where we get them from. They're just all over, you know, everybody's got them.
The substitute shortages problems?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the environment for education support professionals in Ohio has been bubbling for a while. And we are at a point now where we know, post-COVID, we know our value of contributions in our school systems to help our students. And it is time that we get the respect that we deserve for the jobs that we do. I think it's important for us to continue to share the vital role that each of us play in educating the whole child.
And you figure, you bring up a good point. Buildings don't get clean, kids don't get to school. You know,
They don't get fed.
They don't get their services. It's like the school systems don't run without us.
They don't get their medicines. And you know, when they come into the clinic, they wouldn't be able to get some of them life-saving medicines, like if they're diabetic, to get their insulin shots, an EpiPen, you know, that kind of stuff. Because, you know, most of our buildings don't have full-time nurses anymore. They're all, you know, clinic aides. And could you imagine your principal answering their own phone every day?
Oh no, I'm a school secretary, and you know, I'm in charge of the front door, and so every visitor that comes to our building, whether they're there to see a teacher or a student or the administrator, has to go through me first, and I'm the person who has to buzz them in and give them that security clearance to come into our building. So I'm very protective of our students, which I never thought would be a job of a secretary, processing paperwork and ordering supplies and making sure that everybody's schedule is right and everything in the system is correct, and just the day-to-day activities. I secure the substitutes for the building as well as process payroll for every employee. But it seems these days that security is one of my number one jobs.
And I think there was a report, NEA said it was like 82% of all ESPs are in some way or shape part of the security programs within their districts or within their buildings. But if you sit there and think about it, I would say 100% of us, because we're always on the lookout for what's going wrong, if something's not right. If we're out on a playground with a student and there's a car that's driving by slowly, even if they're there to dump recycling, which they shouldn't be doing during the school day, we're the ones that are sitting there watching and making sure that our students, and then also our teachers, are safe within their buildings. And this is what we do on an everyday basis, and it's not something that we even think about. It's something that we unconsciously do every day.
It's just what we do.
One of the things that the value of my membership has gotten for me has been the opportunities between the NEA ESPLI program or just becoming a board of director. And it all started with an ask. And I was like, what, me? Who, me? I was petrified. And now I don't have a problem asking another person to do that. I have a good friend and coworker that did her first presentation ever here. And I always tell her, speak from your heart, because everything will come out. And it makes things really easy. And she told me at the end of her session today that, my God, that was so easy. I said, you're hooked. You got the bug.
You got the bug.
That's it.
And that's really where it starts, I think, for most of us, is that ask or that first experience where you feel valued and included. And we spend a lot of time in our buildings just being referred to as the classified staff, not the education support professionals that we are. So when we get together and we're all together as a group, it's empowering. The networking is amazing. The opportunities, like you said, Tammy, are just fantastic. But I think that when I talk to my members about the value of membership, I talk about the voice. And my predecessor, the president before me, always said, you don't know what you don't know. And so until you get in those one-on-one conversations with people and you start asking them the questions and the concerns and the issues that they have on an individual basis, is when then we can address them. So I think that for me, the value of networking, or the value of membership for me, is the people.
Now, I will say, I guess I am a newbie to it because I've been married to a teacher for 23 years. So he actually was in Columbus Public Schools when we first got married, and I remember first time contract negotiations were really tense, and we all wore these t-shirts saying, working the rule, and I was like, okay, what is that for? He's like, well, this is what we're doing. And I said, oh, well, that makes interesting, because I was a hairstylist. I was my own employer. But then when I started working in education, we did not have a union for our support staff, and the secretary at my building, she's like, hey, we're meeting with OEA, the Ohio Education Association. I go, really? Are you guys starting the union? She goes, yes. I go, count me in. So being married to my husband for as long as I have, and then knowing that what the union has done for him, to me, that was a big part. And then when I get here, and then at first I was like, oh, I'm just support staff. Well, guess what? I am not just anymore.
That's right.
Because he invited me to a social gathering. And that is where I met this one. And this one, she's like, well, you need to come here, you need to do this, you need to do that. And then now here I am as I have worked with NEA, I have worked with OEA, I have worked with Central OEA NEA on many different platforms. So that way we can make sure that our education professionals get their voices heard, their needs heard.
When I started my first job in 2001 in public education, I started in the kitchen. And the school district that I was in, the classified staff, the education support professionals, were in a different association. And when I moved districts, the first ask was for membership. And I looked at the form and I was like, are you kidding? We can be a part of OEA with the teachers that we work alongside every day? And it was like, give me a pen, I'm ready, right now.
Yes, we have 2 OEA members in our household, and I thought my daughter was going to apply for a position. I said, first thing you get.
Yep.
She goes, I know, Mom, I'll fill out my union membership card. I said, all right, just checking.
And Joey, me too. My husband's a retired band director.
So there you go.
And so it's like, but he was the silent part. And then here I come along in the first year in, and I'm building rep, and they didn't want the newbie, but nobody else wanted the job. And here I go. Now, that started when I told him I was going to be a board of director, and I said, not going to be home much. And he says, that's okay. You're doing what you love.
There you go.
As an ESP leader, the biggest challenge that I face is that I have a full-time job. I am an administrative secretary in an elementary building, and so my 8 hours a day is spent at the desk. But on top of that is that I have 9 different career families represented over 25 buildings on 3 different shifts. And so one of the challenges for me as a leader is being able to have that one-on-one connection with each of my members, because of it's just really hard to get that accomplished during a school day. So I try to make myself available through cell phone, and they know they can call at my desk all day. And I have a really great relationship with my other executive board members, and so we work together. But the biggest challenge for me is actually being able to get to the work sites and see the members and be present in their workday.
I will say, as a leader of a local association, my biggest challenge was time. And I was financially able to cut my hours back And I know that's not something that's possible for every leader, and I know that, and I'm very fortunate that I was able to do that. But now I get to focus 2 hours of my time every day, even if and people don't understand that sometimes advocating for your members within your we have 14 buildings out in my district. Answering emails, they don't understand that sometimes when you're just answering emails you're advocating for your members. I try to do building visits, and then I like to get to know what people do in each of their positions. Like, I have been known to show up with pizza for my second shifters, custodians, because they get the hard job of cleaning up after the end of the day, after the students are gone. And so it's kind of, and then I get to know the members too, and hopefully get to understand, what are some of the other things that, our local union or our district union or our state OEA, what can we offer to them? And okay, what is it, are you struggling with? What can we help you with? That kind of stuff. So that is the biggest thing, is just trying to get out and reach, because we, in our local association, it's 350 is who I represent. And then getting that our district office and our superintendents and our HR people, that they know what our members' worth really are, and that we are not just a number on a piece of paper, or we're not just somebody who answers the door, or answers the phone, or puts a Band-Aid on a boo-boo. I think that is the biggest thing, is that just advocating for what our jobs are and what we do every day as a local leader.
See, and some of the challenges that I have is me working second shift. I can get to the buildings and do that during the day, and trying not to interfere with the workday too much, so that management doesn't come down on us.
Right.
But people don't want to be involved because they're afraid of what management is going to do. It's just them general questions, or they have a problem and they want you to settle it right then.
Right.
And even though they know the process, they don't want to wait for the process. They want that instant problem with an instant result.
Well, and I think the other thing too is that one thing that we also have to advocate to our members are for them to know their worth.
That's right.
I used to hear all the time, I am just a custodian, I am just a parapro, I am just a whatever. Well, guess what? You are not just whatever. That whatever wouldn't have been done today if you weren't here. And don't tell me that, we have our custodian at the building that I work at, and all of our little elementary kids just want to go up and hug him because they love our custodian. They love all of the support staff. They love our ESPs. And they know they wouldn't have as fun days as they do if we weren't around. And they know that. And our students know that. We just need to make sure that everybody else knows that as well.
Right. And I like to use a puzzle example, because your puzzle's not complete if there's one piece missing. And it doesn't matter whether it's, like you said, any one of the 9 career families. Because, maintenance, your kitchen, your secretaries, your parapros, we're all together.
Could you imagine going through a day in this one-to-one world without a tech?
Right.
Or if you should have a Wi-Fi problem,
right?
Or you needed your password reset for your Google account,
right?
And you didn't have your tech person there.
We are the experts.
Who, by the way, is an ESP? Just saying.
We are
Remember
the experts.
that, teachers. Yep. Your ESPs set your passwords.
One of the ways that the Ohio Education Association is advocating for us, education support professionals, is through this new business item that we were able to get passed in May at the Representative Assembly. We, through our exposure to national ESPs and national campaigns, whether it was a Bill of Rights campaign or whether it was a Respect campaign, we realized that that's something that we needed to bring back to Ohio. So the 3 of us have worked really hard to bring back our expertise from our training to share with all the other ESPs in Ohio. And we started with an Educator Voice Academy for ESPs. Being a delegate at the Representative Assembly, we had already heard that the teachers were advocating for legislation for a minimum wage entry-level salary of $40,000. And when I first heard that, I was taken aback because I've been a school secretary now for 23 years, and I barely make $40,000 a year. And it's really hard for us to know our importance in the school day and then put a monetary amount to it. We love what we do. We love our students. We value our contributions on a daily basis, and it's really hard to put that into money when school funding in Ohio has been ruled unconstitutional, 9 times? And so we're constantly looking for our districts to respect us in that way, but there's a lot of other things that need to happen first. And the primary thing that we need to do, and we have the commitment from OEA, is to get out into the areas and travel the state and find out what affects not just Joey, Tammy, and myself, but all of the education support professionals in Ohio. So through this new business item, we are advocating that ESPs can be respected as equal members of OEA, that we're more visible, that this is a great step. I love that we're having our conference today and that we're working towards elevating our careers and being visible and relevant. We need to increase our membership and sharing our advocacy and bargaining ideas. On one of the sessions we attended today, we were sharing lots of things that came from our contracts, and folks were like, what? And so it's really great to be able to share ideas with each other, and that's one of our number one goals, is to get out in front of the ESPs, let them know that OEA values them as members of the association, and find out what their needs really are so we can address them.
Because if we don't know their needs, and because my needs in Ashtabula is definitely different than Dublin or even down in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So getting out and networking is valuable information to be able to help our ESPs.
Right. And the other thing too is I think as we go out on these listening tours, we can also sit there, and I don't want to say advice, but because we have been in leadership, some of us longer than others, but then that way we can give, well, in my experience, this has worked for. Because I think that is the biggest thing that is hard as an ESP, is not finding a mentor, but maybe just a confidant or somebody that can help you on your union journey or your leadership journey or your whatever journey it is that you are doing within your profession. I think having that and knowing somebody and having that recognition and be like, oh, I can email Joey or I can email Cheryl, because I will say if it wasn't for this one, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair talking to you guys today, because it took an ask from Cheryl to ask me to go and do this and that. And I think, and because I had Cheryl, I want to say as a mentor, but then also as a friend. But so we've got this new business item, but then even at our district level, one great thing that Central's coming, I think, Central OEA NEA is coming to help with this new business item, is that we brought back the ESP advisory committee. So we have a committee now of 10 ESPs that our job is to figure out what are the needs and what is it that our Central members need as ESPs within our district. So there is one thing that we're doing. So we started some ESP conversations where we're getting on Zoom and just doing that social networking, the professional networking, and trying to figure out what's going on. And then also, starting this conference back up, because it's been a long time coming, thanks COVID. But so that way it's been nice. So.
We all stand on the shoulders of others, right?
Exactly.
And it's our turn to elevate the careers of education support professionals in the state of Ohio and take this to the next level.
And even we can have great conversations at our tables at district RAs.
Correct.
And never mind, and even at OEA, because we have our OEA ESP table, and we did the survey last year. Maybe it's time we need to reinvent that and get a little more deep than just the general questions, so that we can see what our members really, really need.
Right. And I think the big thing is that there is always that, when you're signing up new members, what is it? It's that one-to-one, it's that ask or whatever. And I think and that is what we're doing at a basic level. So, and that's how OEA, and having the financial commitment now with the new item, the new business item passed, so that way we can have that background and, you know, the mighty power of the Ohio Education Association behind us.
Sharing knowledge, right? Takes all of us.
We're always looking for new leaders because we're not going to be here forever.
Well, you know what? Actually, that's kind of nice. You know, hey.
I mean, honestly, think about it that way because, you know, we have other, you know, yes, our class was a little different, especially having 3 from Ohio for NEA ESP Leadership Institute, but it used to be called Leaders of Tomorrow's, and we have some of those within our state, but we need more of us because once I think we went through the training and everything that we did to go through it, that took our advocacy from here to here. And as Tammy has always said, you know, if it wasn't for ESP Alive, this is where I would be and I would never be out of it. And now Tammy is not here, she's here.
So really that takes us to the things that we've been able to accomplish not only at a local or a district or a state level,
But national.
now we're connected on a national level. Some of the things that you're doing on a national level.
Right. I'm part of the NEA ESP conversations that we have. You know, there's some kind of training every month, but the one that I facilitate is basically just sitting down and having conversations and figuring out what's going on nationally. So you get to talk to parapros and custodians from Rhode Island, Seattle, Arizona, New Mexico, Alaska. I mean, that was kind of fun talking to somebody from Alaska. So, and trying to figure out, and we all kind of have the same issues, but we all have different ways of dealing with it. And I think that way you can have those conversations as well. Yeah.
And Cheryl and I just got some exciting news that we both found out that we're both going to be on the 2024 ESPLI cohort as trainers.
Good for you guys. That's
Yeah,
great.
I was privileged over the summer to be able to join one of our colleagues from the state of Maryland, and we went and presented to a local association there the True Colors presentation, and that we as leaders from the Leadership Institute, we were all certified as True Colors trainers, and that's a great program that you can have a little fun and learn about each other and learn about our similarities and our differences and why it takes all of us to make the puzzle work, right? And so through that experience, I got chosen to be a True Colors facilitator for the ESPLI new group.
And I'm going to do data.
Surprise!
And because everything we do is around data. Money for school funding is about your enrollment data. So it's like, and one thing I have learned that I cannot compare myself to anybody else.
That's right.
We are all on a different journey and we're all at different levels, but we're all important and we're all needed. And we need you.
All of you.
Everybody.